Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about something really important, your personal finances. In this video, I will explore some common financial mistakes many people make and more importantly, how to fix them. Not everyone has the correct financial knowledge when it comes to handling their money. Even some of the higher educated and high income earners struggle when it comes to money management. If you are new here, my name is Parul and I have a graduate degree in economics from USC in LA. I always wanted to be an economics and personal finance teacher, but I ended up working in financial consulting with the top law firms and Fortune 500 companies, which paid me a lot, but I still wanted to do something for the common people, so I started this channel. Here on this channel, I try to make the correct financial information available free of cost so that my viewers don't get misguided by all the wrong information on the internet. This video has so many hidden gems that you don't want to miss out on any information here. I have worked really hard to make this video and try to include as many points as possible. Let's face it, money management can be confusing and sometimes we all make mistakes, but after watching this video, you won't repeat these mistakes because you will understand the concepts right. Let's begin. The first mistake that many people make is when they live paycheck to paycheck. This is a big one. Living paycheck to paycheck means your income barely covers your expenses. There's no wiggle room for savings or unexpected cost. So what do you do in that case? You make budgeting your BFF. There are tons of budgeting templates and apps out there, and I also have one that I'm sharing in the description below. You can check that out. So once you start saving and cutting back on certain expenses, you will be surprised how much you can save in each category. So make sure to check out this video here, which talks more about different ways of saving money. And you can, if you are struggling to cut down on your expenses, that video will be really useful for you. And I want to thank to everybody who recently subscribed to my channel. It is making my channel grow and giving me the motivation to keep making good quality videos. So thank you so much for that. Anyway, getting back to today's video. While I was growing up, my parents always instilled this thing in me and my brother that we must have a good education in order to have a good career. So this is a mistake that many people make when they don't take their career or their skills seriously. We should never stop growing. Even when you land up a job or you're in a business, always try to enhance your skills based on whatever your requirement, whatever your job requirement is. There's so many free online resources nowadays, and you can learn as like whatever you can think of. And so make use of free resources. And if really you want to, you can also enroll in some courses to enhance your professional skills so that you can demand a higher pay at work when you have those skills that makes you very valuable to your company. All right, let's look at the next mistake, which is when we get confused on how to pay off our debt. So there are some popular methods of debt repayment. One is called avalanche and one is called snowball. Don't get worried about these fancy terms. Let me explain them to you. So basically, in the finance and economic theory, there are two popular methods to tackle your debt. And one of them is when you are paying the highest interest debt first, which is the avalanche method. And the second method, which is a snowball method, is when you pay the debt with the least dollar value first so that you feel good about, getting those small victories. So, being an economist, I think the first method or the avalanche method, where you pay the highest interest debt first, makes more sense financially because ultimately you will pay less money overall. But some people will argue the satisfaction that you get by getting those small victories increases your motivation, and this way you can keep going and pay off the rest of your debt. So again, it all depends on which method works best for you. And I'll give you some examples to illustrate this. So let's take an hypothetical scenario where you have two debts, $2,000 on a credit card and with the 18% interest, and a $500 on another credit card with 10% interest. So what are you going to do is you're going to write down the debt and the interest rate. So if we look at the snowball method, where you're tackling the lowest amount debt first, you will be paying off the debt with the lowest interest, which is the credit card 2 in this case, the $500 one. Then you will make the minimum payment on all the other debts. Then throw away the extra cash you have towards the smallest debt. Once you pay off the credit card 2 completely, you take the money you were paying towards it and then add it to the minimum payment you were making on credit card 1. So this snowballs your payment method toward the remaining debt. So keep making minimum payments on all debt and put all extra cash towards the remaining balance, which is credit card 1, until it's paid off. So now let's see how we pay off the debt in the avalanche method. So again, you will list your debt, same as snowball method. Here you will focus on paying off the debt with the highest interest rate first. That is the credit card 1 with the 18%. So similar to the snowball, you make the minimum payments on all debt and throw extra cash towards the highest interest debt, which is the credit card 1. Once credit card 1 is paid off, then you move on to credit card 2. And then you keep repeating the other steps until all debts are gone. So it's difficult to give an exact time frame without knowing your minimum payments and extra cash you can put towards the debt. However, with a snowball method, you might pay off the $500 debt in few months and then focus on the larger debt. It could take around a year to be debt free altogether. On the other hand, in the avalanche method, by tackling the higher interest first, you can save more money overall, even though it may take longer to pay it off. So I would say you choose the method that works for you. Choose Avalanche if you are disciplined and you prioritize saving money on interest, but choose Snowball if you need the motivation to seeing the small victories to stay on track. All right, let's move to the next common financial mistake, which is more common in our younger population, and this can sometimes ruin their financial goals. And I'm talking about retail therapy. So, what most of the youngsters do is that if they are feeling depressed or they want to copy other people's lifestyle, they try to do impulse purchases. And there could be various triggers for that. So you need to identify what are your main triggers and try to, minimize exposure to them. You can unsubscribe from any promotional emails or text and then unfollow any shopping related account or on your social media. When you feel the urge to shop, try distracting yourself with a different activity that doesn't involve spending money. Talk with friends or have some hobbies like, painting or let's say, reading and all. Another effective technique is to make a list of the things that you truly need before you go for shopping and try to stick to that list and don't just aimlessly browse the store here and there or do the online browsing. And the last tip that I have is before you make a purchase, try to wait for 1 week, because a lot of times those strong urges to shop go away and this acts as a cooling period. And you will realize if you still want that thing after a week, then maybe you absolutely need it. But other than that, try not to just hit the button right at that minute when you found something. Give yourself some cooling period. And another tip that I have is that if you think you're an overspender, try to use debit cards and cash instead of credit cards. I know the perks and the miles sound interesting and they help you if you use the credit card wisely. For anybody who overspends on credit cards, it's better not to use them, because sometimes if you don't pay it off, it can get you into this debt spiral, and the interest rate on credit cards are very, very high as 25% right now. So you don't want to just pay the minimum balance on it. Okay, that's what the credit card companies want you to do, but try not to get into that trap. Okay, moving on to my next mistake, which many people make, is they don't use the free money that is available to them. Here I'm talking about the 401k employer matches. So this is essentially free money when your employer tries to match the retirement saving by a certain amount. So in that case, you must contribute to that much amount which your employer is trying to match at the very least. Okay. And the second thing is, the earlier you start investing in 401k, the better it is for you. Because time plays a great role in when it comes to compounding, and you actually see this is the biggest factor in making you wealthy. There's not no other variable, there's no other speculation. It is mostly for how long have you invested for. Because the compounding happens towards the end and you will see exponential growth in your returns. Okay, let me explain this with an example so you know what I'm talking about. So we will look at two scenarios. The first is when you're contributing at an age of 22, right after when you start your job, and the second is when you start at 35. So in both cases, the annual contribution is $5,000, and the average annual return adjusted for inflation is 7%. So in the first case, you have a 43 years of contribution from age 22 to 65. Now let's calculate the total contribution considering the annual salary increase. So in year one, you have $5,000. In year two, you have 5,000 times 1.02, and so on. So basically, so total contributions will be 5,000 in year one, 5,100 in year two. Then you keep adding all the way to the contributions in year 43, which is your 65 years of retirement. And you can use a financial calculator or a spreadsheet to find the future value of an annuity. In this case, the FP represents the total amount accumulated in your 401k at retirement. So with these assumptions, the FB at the retirement age would be $1.6 million. Now let's look at the other scenario when you start contributing at age 35. So total contributions calculation will be similar to the previous example, and we will calculate it for 30 years now. So using the same FB calculation with the adjusted contribution timeline, the future value at retirement would be around $580,000. So what do we learn from this example? The key takeaway is that when you start at 22, your years of contribution are much more, and this helps you in compounding. This is a simplified example, but it highlights the main advantage of starting in 401k early because of the power of compounding. The next mistake that many people can make is if they go for a high fee fund. So that will eat a lot of your returns. So try to look for the low cost index funds, or you can go for a target date retirement fund. I have made another video on this topic, so you can check that out in the cards here. And one more mistake that I've seen some people make in this 401k category is when they don't transfer their 401k if they move jobs, and sometimes even worse, they cash out the 401k. So never do that. Leave your money invested there. Even if you're not making any contributions for whatever reason, if you decide not to work, never cash it out before your retirement age, because this money, even without contributions, will keep growing. Okay. And you will get a severe penalty if you withdraw it before the age of 59 and a half, and you end up paying more taxes. So it is a complete waste. This money is meant to grow over the long term, and it is meant for retirement. So try to leave it in there. By the way, if you are finding value in this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, now let's look at the other common mistake many people make is when they fear the stock market investing, because they don't understand the difference between investing and speculating. Investing in stocks, if it is done the right way, is the best tool to build wealth. You know that I'm a big supporter of investing in a diversified group of stocks through investing in a low cost index funds like the ones from Vanguard. So, for example, Vanguard SP 500 index, which is the VFIAX, mimics the 500 biggest companies in the US by market cap, and the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index will mimic the entire US stock market. So even seasoned investors like Warren Buffett promote this strategy that for 95% of the investors, this is the best way to grow wealth.
In my view, for most people, the best thing to do is to own the S&P 500 index.
You don't have to speculate, you don't have to buy individual stocks. Just buy the index fund that tracks a broader market like S&P 500 or the total stock index. Sometimes people also diversify by going to international stocks, like an index for that. So those are better ways and safer ways to grow your wealth. The only thing that you require is patience, because it does take a long time. So don't panic if the market is you know showing a downturn, because as I said, these small short-term fluctuations at the end, when you leave the money invested for a long time, for like 10, 15, 20, 30 years, you will see that how much you have gained overall. If you look at this chart, you'll see that S&P 500 index, from its start all the way to here, how much it has grown. Okay, so if you had to withdraw at different times just because you thought the market was going down and you were losing money, just immediately afterwards you'll see that it has gained again. So if you had withdrawn at that time when it was trying to fall a little bit, you would have lost a lot of money. So always leave it invested for a long time. I know some people like to buy individual stocks because they like taking the risk, or they have that gambling, mindset. But it is impossible to predict how a company is going to do. You could be lucky with a company, but that company can completely fail later. So the best way is to diversify using a broad-based index funds. The index funds from all the three listed brokerages like Vanguard, Schwab, or Fidelity are great for diversification. And if you are a beginner investor, you can start with a small amount and then gradually increase your investments. Next mistake that many beginner investors make is they try to hire a professional advisor or fund manager. But I feel that is not necessary, because most of the time these people charge you fees that are not really valuable to you. They cannot beat the market if they try to select certain funds for you. And these are more relevant for very wealthy people, because they need it to reduce their taxes or for estate planning and stuff. But for average people, you don't need a financial advisor. You can watch a lot of my videos on it, and I have given this free information. You can also look up online on Investopedia and other reliable websites. That most of the time we just need to stay disciplined, and we don't try to beat the market. We try to invest in a broad based index fund and just let it do the job. Let the time do its job. You don't have to worry about the emotions. The two critical things are to leave the money invested for a long time and to keep contributing every month, no matter how the market is doing, whether it's going up or down. So one way to not get worried about it is if you buy a mix of stocks like based on an index fund, and you follow a strategy called dollar cost averaging. Because in this case you will take the emotions out of investing, and you will keep investing a fixed amount every single period, like weekly or monthly or whatever your frequency is. So if you have this strategy, it will reduce the risk because you won't buy all your stocks at a very high price, and it also makes investing your habit. And the other advantage is that it builds discipline, because you're investing regularly. And it also lowers average cost, because over time you might end up paying an average price per share, which can be good for the long term growth. Think of it like this: you are buying apples throughout the season, getting a mix of expensive ones and the cheap ones. This might be better than buying all the apples at the peak of the season when they are the most expensive. So it is a simple strategy for new investors to build wealth over time. The last financial mistake that many of us make is when we try to match other people's lifestyle. And it is true for even high earners. So if it doesn't align with your values, you can say no to something. As well as if you look at someone's post on social media that they are vacationing, going to all these different places, you have to look at your financial goals and see if it aligns with your plan. And also, I feel like everyone values things differently. Different people value different type of experiences or material things differently. For example, somebody really likes to splurge on designer handbags, or for some, going to Starbucks to get the coffee makes more sense. It doesn't to me. But again, whatever gives you pleasure, it is fine to save money for that. Don't go in debt for that unless it's an asset. Like if it becomes more valuable in future, like a property, or if you are taking a student loan to get a better education, a higher education, or if you are investing in yourself to develop a specific skill or in your business, those are still fine if you want to take loan for that, because most often it is going to pay you more in future than the original cost of your loan. So also, I want to say that a lot of people who are wealthy or who are financially successful have a disciplined life, and they don't get it in one day. It takes a lot of time. So there is a lot of misconception about somebody just got rich in one day, and there's so much of wrong information on the internet about it. It takes a long time to grow your wealth, and so don't get swayed by all these wrong information. So remember that everybody can make financial mistakes. The key is to learn from them whenever you get the right knowledge and take control of your finances. I hope you learned a lot from this video. Feel free to leave a comment, and I will be happy to answer if I can, with the best of my ability. And again, please hit the like button if you found this video helpful, and I will see you in my next one. And don't forget to subscribe. Take care. Bye.